Hi, welcome to my channel, Psychic Kathleen. I'm continuing along in my project of describing a client's issue that has been brought to me, and cards I've drawn and how I've interpreted those cards in the context of the question, the client, where they're at this stage in their lives. And so if that's something that interests you, then keep watching. Thank you for joining me here on my channel. And if you enjoy these kinds of videos, then certainly remember to subscribe to the channel below and click the notification bell, and you'll receive notifications in your email that I've uploaded a new video. So I had two different clients come to see me today. The first client was a male, a young male, far, far beyond his years. When he told me how old he was, I was really surprised. Normally, I'm thinking that someone is much younger than what they are, and he turned out to be a much younger than I thought he was, for sure. I assumed he was much older. Not because he looked much older, but he was so mature and smart and grounded and at such a good place in his life. He clearly knew who he was. He was quite a remarkable young man. So his concern had been two-pronged. One was about love, and he really wanted to meet that special someone, get married and have a family. That was something that was really important to him. And he was in a relationship, someone he'd met 6 months ago online. They had been dating, but there were a few bumps along the way, and he wanted to know what I thought of that relationship. So that was one of the first things that we started to explore. And I said right away, my intuition told me that no, I don't think she's sort of the one, as they say. I'm sure you're enjoying each other's company immensely. However, she doesn't feel like she's the one. So I laid out some cards in the reading, and that's when things can get very interesting. Sometimes a reading will completely validate what my intuition has already indicated, and sometimes the reading is completely counter to what my intuition. So that's always an interesting challenge. In this case, the reading had completely supported what my intuition suggested. So in the recommended position, for example, was the Eight of Cups, which is basically saying, walk away. This is going to be an emotional situation that is not going to lead to emotional fulfillment and happiness for you. When we looked at, for example, what about future relationships, should he decide to class this as a relationship, which is very likely. He said that the area where they were not compatible was in goal setting, and he felt that they were on a very different page that way, and would likely break them up in the future anyway. So then I followed that up with a reading on meeting someone new and what that would look like. And the Ten of Pentacles in the past position pointed to family inheritance. So that opened up a conversation about, were his parents still together and they weren't, how their marriage collapsed, how he felt about it at the time. He was a teenager when they broke up. And he was worried. This had affected him profoundly, and he was afraid to pick the wrong person and find himself a father and heading for divorce in the future, which was a nightmare for him. He was a Taurus, and Tauruses value commitment and loyalty, and they're not big on divorce. So he was impacted by this past experience with his parents in combination with, of course, who he is and what his priorities are. However, in terms of the future and whether he would find love, the near future had come up, the Emperor, and I said, you're going to feel much more in charge. And that led to a discussion too about online dating, and I said one of the problems that you're going to have as a Taurus is you love pretty things. And I said that can lead you to getting distracted by the physical, as we all can to some extent, but some signs are more vulnerable to that. And I said what you might want to do is go back at your profiles, your online profiles, and say something like your picture's not on there and you don't want to see pictures of your prospective dates because you don't want to be distracted by their beauty. And I said that'll bring a flood of excitement from women really wanting to meet you, that you're showing yourself to be genuine and willing to see how the inner beauty is first. And I said, and frankly, I think that would be really helpful to you because you've been distracted by pretty shiny things in the past and they haven't worked out very well for you. So wouldn't hurt to try something new. And that had answered the Ace of Pentacles, which again, sometimes I'll throw out my intuition or a piece of advice, what I feel will lead to a better outcome for them. And then just ask the cards, what do the cards think of that? And with the Ace of Pentacles, it's saying, you know what, that's a really good plan. Put that into play and you're very likely to have success, which had come up the Star card, all his hopes and dreams coming true. So we got sorted around his love life, which was the key reason really for him coming to see me. The other piece was his work, and he worked for a place that was winding down. He felt like a layoff was imminent. He was thinking he should maybe go back to school and take some courses. And that came up the Page of Swords, who is the student of the deck. And I said, clearly the cards are supporting that decision. And he said he still had some courses to do to get his full certification. Clearly he was supported in going in that way. And then he wanted to know about taking another course on the heels of that, which would be in a different but related field. And that came up the Ace of Wands, which is really saying, that's a really good idea. So we had a very enjoyable time together. It was the first time he'd ever had a reading. He said he found it really helpful. We explored all different aspects of his love life and his work life and found that we had just the right amount of time together. He said he felt like it was unbelievable how much information was related, and he was excited about thinking about all the things I'd said. And the most difficult thing for him going forward, it had come up the Ten of Wands, which is going to be a lot of work. And I said, I feel like getting over this woman that you're presently seeing is going to be the big piece of work for you. And he enthusiastically agreed. So he was obviously very fond of this woman. My second client who came, who was a much older woman, and she works with Alzheimer's patients, and she works sort of one-on-one with them, helps them and their families to adapt and work with this disease that is so insidious and continues to grow. And she had asked questions like, when am I going to retire? Now that was a very interesting question, because the answer to that had been the Two of Swords. And I said, clearly the Two of Swords is saying you'll be coming up for a big decision about that sometime soon. But it looks like there are some barriers which had come up. The Five of Wands, strife and struggle, obviously there's a struggle about whether you should stay working or not. And that led to a discussion about how important her work was to her, how she felt like it was doing something of great value to others as well. It gave her a sense of meaning and value, and a very strong spiritual calling, actually. So we discussed how this would look going forward in the future. And that had come up temperance, which is about manifestation, making things happen, and how might that happen, had come up the Seven of Pentacles, which is planting seeds for the future. So I've read that as what's happening for her is she's become the Queen of Swords, which means she's becoming a very good advisor. And so disseminating her knowledge and her learning to others, either through writing or blogging or whatever, but she will take her knowledge and disseminate it to others who are in her position, others who are caregivers of people with Alzheimer's or people newly diagnosed with it. But her experience and knowledge is tremendously valuable, and more so, every day, as boomers are the biggest segment of the population, and so there's more and more people being diagnosed with this insidious disease every day. And what she's learned about it is tremendously valuable to many. So she found that very exciting, and felt like that had given her some food for thought. She walks every day for 10 miles, and she said, on my walk today, I'll be thinking a lot about how I can do that. And she had recorded, as many of my clients do, they'll record the session with their phone. And I said, you can talk into your phone. Now people can walk down the street, talking into their phones, and that looks normal. I said, you can talk into your phone, recording your thoughts and your feelings as you're walking in the context of your work, what you have to share. And you can take that verbal record and have it translated into text. And that can be the sort of bones of your writing in the future. So that excited her as well. It's something she hadn't considered. So thank you again for joining me here today. If this is the first time you've stumbled into my channel, then subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video, and subscribe and press the notification bell. Feel free and welcome to share my video with others who are either clients going for readings and are curious to know some of the background, or readers themselves, or people who want to learn to become a reader. Feel welcome to pass along my video to them. And I look forward to seeing you here again soon. Bye for now.